Quotes from John Flavel. From the Kindle, Deep Christian Quotes and Bible Verses. First quote. Don't you know that when you offer yourselves to someone as obedient slaves, you are slaves of the one you obey, either of sin, which leads to death, or of obedience, which leads to righteousness? Romans 6:16. It is but a mockery to give Christ the empty titles of Lord and King, while you give your real service to sin and Satan. What is this but to be like the Jews to bow the knee to him, and say, Hail Master! And crucify him? Here is honey in the tongue, and poison in the heart. Second quote. True repentance is a drop out of the eye of faith. The measure or degree of that sorrow is caused by a believing view of Christ. Third quote. I remained speechless. I did not open my mouth because you are the one who has done this. Psalm 39:9. Look upwards, when tribulations come upon you. Look to that sovereign Lord, who commissions and sends them upon you. You know that troubles do not rise out of the dust, nor spring out of the ground, but are framed in heaven. Troubles and afflictions are of the Lord's framing and devising, to reduce his wandering people to himself. Fourth quote. The kings of the earth are but as little bits of clay. Therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, let us be thankful and worship God in reverence and fear in a way that pleases him. For our God is an all-consuming fire. Hebrews 12:28-29. Oh, with what solemn reverence should we approach him in worship! Away with light and low thoughts of Christ. Away with formal, irreverent, and careless frames in praying, hearing, receiving, yes, in conferring and speaking of Christ. Away with all deadness, and drowsiness in duties, for he is a great king with whom you have to do. A king, to whom the kings of the earth are but as little bits of clay. Lo, the angels cover their faces in his presence. Fifth quote. Has he put you so many times into the furnace? You have a further advantage to a holy life, by all the chastisements with which God visits you. By these afflictions, God prevents your straying and wandering. Others may wander even as far as hell, and God will not spend a sanctified rod upon them, to reduce or stop them. But says, let them alone. Hosea 4:17. But if you wander out of the way. Sixth quote. Of holiness, he will clog you with one trouble or other to keep you within bounds. Are you poor? Why, with that poverty God has clogged your pride. Are you reproached? With these reproaches God has clogged your sinful ambition. Corruptions are prevented by your afflictions. And, is not this a marvelous help to holiness of life? By your afflictions, your corruptions are not only clogged but purged. By these God dries up and consumes that spring of sin which defiles your lives. God orders your wants to fill your wantonness, and makes your poverty poison to your pride. Thanks.